welcome. This is a CNBC TV 18 special interview. I'm Kritika Saxena, and with me is my colleague Nisha Poddar. JSW Energy has acquired a 1,000 megawatt thermal power plant of JSPL. Without taking this forward, let's introduce our special guest, the MD and CEO of JSW Energy. Mr. Sagar, my first question to you, and the most crucial one that all shareholders are asking, is how will the payout work? So it's a 4,000 crore rupee deal at this point in time, 500 crore rupee upfront payment. Give us exact clarity as to how the balance 3,500 crore rupee will be paid out, and how will you fund this amount?
Well, the balance 3,500 crores will be paid out at closing if the deal happens at 4,000 crores. Or alternatively, the 6,000 crores will be paid out at closing if the deal happens at 6,500 crores. And as our CFO just told you, we generally do the funding with a mix of internal accruals and debt. And that's how we intend to fund this project, this acquisition also.
Right. So 3,500 crore rupees, as sources do indicate at this point, and we haven't got a chance of speaking to JSPL on this, they will be getting this amount from the lenders because the main requirement for JSPL at this point is of cash. Now, is there any comfort that lenders are getting from JSW Energy for that 3,500 crore rupees, which you will eventually pay after 2 years, but JSPL is expected to get right now?
Well, as far as JSW Energy is concerned, all the comfort that we are giving them is contained in the document that we've signed. There's no additional comfort over and above the definitive agreement that we've signed with JSPL that we are providing to any of the lenders.
All right.
And let me also clarify that we have not been approached either by JSPL or by any of their lenders to provide any additional comfort.
No, fair enough, sir. But what we're trying to understand is, I know you can't speak for JSPL, but the big concern for JSPL, which you would also be aware, is the entire debt burden that the company has been facing. Yes, they will get the balance amount. There's 500 crore rupee now. They'll get the balance amount by 2018 or when the conditions are met. I agree with that. But the kind of debt leverage or the debt relief that they need in those 2 years, how will that work?
Well, I think it's an unfair question to put to me. You should be putting this question to JSPL and not to me.
No, fair enough.
And it's very difficult for me to answer on their behalf because I really don't know what are their plans.
So all right, Mr. Sagar, just to understand, it is a group company, OP Jindal Group, where two companies, separately listed companies, have really transacted. And the simple question is, why this 2 years of breather that has been given? Because JSPL will continue to operate the plant even though you have paid them 500 crore rupees right now.
Right, let me explain the rationale behind it. You see, it's been our past experience that when an asset has to be hived out of an existing company through a court process, and there are X number of approvals and approvals to be taken from the lenders and the government, from various agencies, our past experience has been it generally takes about 1.5 to 2 years.
So you're preempting the delay in the system?
Yes, I am. Okay. No, that's been the
okay,
experience.
that's one of the...
Yeah, that's one of the reasons. And the other reason is that since it is going to take this long, then there is a second part of the deal which says that if they fulfill certain conditions, then they'll get a higher value.
Okay.
So we are also giving them time to be able to fulfill those conditions and to be able to claim the higher value from us.
Fair enough. In terms of the rationale, you explained the rationale for the valuation. Take us through the rationale. You will have to wait 2 years. When, if the environment is different, what is the rationale for taking in this plant? And I'm sure you have a specific synergetic turnaround plan in mind.
See, a turnaround plan would actually be put in place only if there's something wrong with the asset per se. The asset today is suffering from the pains of the sector, so to say. And JSW Energy is an energy company. We have taken our chances on the sector, and we will continue to do so. And we certainly believe that India cannot afford to stagnate for another 2 years. And if we are also betting on the India growth story like everybody else.
But for 2 years...
So 2 years will also give us time to ensure that there are no stress on our cash at the time of acquisition. We'll be able to garner enough internal accruals at the time to make the acquisition easy for us, and our ratios will not be stressed at that time. So it serves multiple purposes. One, we give them enough time to do the processes, to get the clearances. Two, it gives them time to be able to claim the higher valuation from us by fulfilling those CPs. And as far as JSW Energy is concerned, we get time for two things. One is the turnaround of the sector.
Correct.
And the second is to be able to have enough internal accruals so that our ratios do not get pressurized.
So I understand all the points that you mentioned. Be patient with me when I ask you this. Could this kind of a leniency be given to any other company if it was not a group company like JSPL?
Well, you really think we are giving them some leniency? Because the JP deal also, if you remember, took 1.5 to 2 years to get concluded. Because they also had to go through the same process. So you can't turn around and tell me that, no, you were lenient to the JPs. We were not.
But only the process to play devil's advocate, you haven't done that leniency with any other deal. Or
we haven't done any other deals.
You're talking about Monetist part,
We're talking about it. Wait till the deal gets done.
One more point that I wanted to mention. You yourself said that in 2 years you're betting on India growth story. 2 more years, things will be very different from what it is right now. And even JSPL's fortunes would change. So right now they will be getting that breather, the 500 crores you're giving. Lenders, as per our sources tell us, lenders are infusing more debt into the company, which otherwise they wouldn't give at this point because they are already highly leveraged. So given after 2 years, what is the guarantee that the deal will go through? If they get a PPA FSA, they may not want to get that 6,500 crore rupees from you, but might as well run and continue to operate the plant as they have been doing right now. So what is the risk cap that you have as part of JSW Energy so that this deal is not broken after 2 years?
See, a definitive agreement of this sort is constructed to be binding on both the buyer and the seller.
Right.
Now, with any agreement across the world, if there is malified intent, then any one of us can go bad. But agreements are signed with suitable binding provisions.
Right.
And in order to ensure that the deal does go through, and when the seller and the buyer enter into an agreement, it is with the intent to perform and not with the intent to renegade on an agreement when things start looking better.
Okay, fair enough.
That's how deals are done. So.
Fair enough, sir. So let's go back to the drawing board. A lot of various elements to the deal, a lot of structure that you've created in the deal. When you were originally to announce the deal, there was a lot of talk about there being differences in terms of valuation, differences in terms of the upfront payment of 500 crore rupees. What was the reason why the deal saw a delay? Because the announcement or the deal closure was expected quite some time ago.
Well, I think that's a question you should ask the media who is reporting all these things. Because none
of differences in valuation?
None of us ever went out and said that there were any differences in valuations or on the negotiations. It was just the process of negotiations which happened.
So here I have a question. There was some market chatter around some sort of the technical, NOCs to be taken from Chhattisgarh government by way of where the plant is positioned. Anything of that sort? Which
they've all been covered in the agreement.
Yeah, so
there are various standard clauses. There are various approvals which have to be taken, not only from the government of Chhattisgarh,
right, but
also from various other agencies of the government across both the central and the state. So all those have been captured in the agreement. These are all very standard norms, clauses of any agreement.
With direct knowledge have been sharing with us that tomorrow, 27th of April, is when JSW Energy's board is meeting and is likely to consider buying out JSPL's 1,000 megawatts unit for cash outgo of 4,000 odd crore rupees.
We understand that JSW Energy will be buying out the entire Chhattisgarh plant. The exact valuation I do not have as of now, but we understand that the board meet is going on as we speak and that a term sheet will be signed either by midnight or possibly by early tomorrow morning.
Deal has been worked out at an enterprise valuation of 4,000 crore rupees. Now that's higher than what, or rather in line with the highest estimate of most of what the analysts were expecting. But what's interesting here is that they will be increasing the enterprise valuation to 6,500 crore rupees if the plant achieves long-term PPA agreements and brings in minimum return guarantees.